Hi everybody, welcome back to Taji's World of Books and welcome to another book series recommendation video. Hey you guys, it's been a crazy day. I don't have an ounce of makeup on, but that is totally fine. I got my hair colored back to my normal standard color that I appreciate. I didn't have a chance to put on makeup. It is pouring rain here, which is not typical, and so I had to run and get my son from soccer, and it was lightning, and so I gotta get this video done. So I just said, let me jump on here really fast and do this. Okay. So I'm going to talk about a series, but while I'm talking about the series, I also wanted to just jump on really quick and give my thoughts about Darker Than Love. Now, this is part of Anna Zaires' Twist Me, Capture Me, and Tormentor Mine series. So all of those guys that are part of that crime syndicate, right? In the third installment, because they're each trilogies, Twist Me trilogy, which is one of my all-time favorite, Captor Captive. Then you've got Capture Me, which is really, really good. Again, another Captor Captive. And those are, and then Tormentor Mine. And in Tormentor Mine, we're introduced to the Russian syndicate, Peter Sokolov, and his crew. He has the twins that are involved in his crew, and the twins' name are Jan and what is his Jan and his Ilya is his brother's name, and so they're part of Peter Sokolov's crew. So we get to see a little bit of those other characters from Twist Me, Capture Me in here, but this is mainly about Jan and his crew, and he gets to have a story of his own. Okay, so Anna Zaires typically writes with her husband. I believe his name is Dimas or Dima. And those series that she wrote with him are really, really, really good. This series I was kind of like a little bit bored, okay? And those are considered dark romances. The Twist Me, the Capture Me, and the Tormentor Mine series are considered dark. This one, I don't even know, like she's not writing with Dima, she's writing with a different writer, so you can see that the formula is the same, but the voice is different. And so I have to say, I really didn't care for this series as much. I was bored through most of it. So it is about Jan's story, and he basically meets this waitress and named Mina, and he has a relationship with her. They have like a one-night stand. He really likes her, but it turns out to be an operative, and she doesn't want him to discover who she really is, and so she sneaks off. And so she sneaks off in the middle of the night, and he's really pissed off and upset because she basically abandoned him. So fast forward 13 months later, and she's on another job, and he finds her, and he decides that he's gonna like take her captive because he discovers that she's not who she says she is. I was bored. The other thing I didn't like about this is that there is a second book in this series where it makes it look like it's a novella. So if you go on Goodreads, like there's that novella section of it. So I went ahead and bought that novella to read first, and then I read this. It is literally the same exact first 90 pages of this entire book. So the first 90 pages of this book, part 1, is considered that novella. So don't go and buy that separately. So that left a bitter taste in my mouth because now I bought the book and you sort of double crossed me in that it was literally exactly the same. So overall, this is like a 3 out of 5. I was really disappointed because, like I said, Anna Zaires' Twist Me was really great. The way that this sort of worked out, even at the epilogue at the end where it all sort of came together and they got their HEA, I was like, wow. It was just boring. It wasn't like anything at all. So that's that. All right. So then I moved on, and I love BB Reid, and I absolutely loved her Broken Love series. It's a high school bully romance. BB Reid is really good for writing bully romances. So I said, you know what? I'm going to try this. I'm going to try When Rivals Played series. There are 4 main works in the series and 1 novella, and I have to say that book 1 and book 4 were absolutely the best in the series. So book 1, The Puppet and the Pier and the Puppet, are about 4 and Ever, And it basically is a situation in which Four's mother starts dating Ever's father. And they are from a very poor part of like Florida, North Carolina, Georgia, whatever. And she is a racer, and she drives, and she's a part of like the racing series, like the NASCAR series. She absolutely loves. She motocross. She like runs, like rides motocross. Like she's like a hard chick. Like no joke, right? Okay, so their parents are dating, so they ultimately get uprooted and they move to a very high-end part of the East Coast, all right? And instantly, Ever wants nothing to do with Four. He hates her. You know, if you've ever read the Puppet series by Aaron Watt, this is reminds you exactly of that series. It's like an enemies to lovers. It's a high school bully situation. He is like, they are enemies instantly, and he is determined that he is going to get her exiled because she is going to stand up against him, and he's like, nope, you're not going to do it. And he's going to elicit all of his friends from his elite private prep school to assist him and like putting her Ever in her place, because who the hell does she think she is? And she, on the other hand, is like, who the hell do these rich kids think they are? And they're not going to bully me around, and I'm going to do what I need to do. And the rivals begin. So let me say this. Each book is a standalone book, but they are interconnected plot. And the interconnected plot is that there is this gang syndicate that one is called 13 and the other is called, I can't remember what the other syndicate is called, but whatever the other syndicate is called, they are like rivaling each other. And the story is unfolding about these two gangs, and Ever and Four are both attached to these gangs because Ever, because of her motocross career, Four because of her motocross career, and Ever because of his family involvement, and that story sort of evolves from there. So this definitely is, like I said, an enemies to lovers. This was a really good story. I appreciated it. It's a 5 out of 5 star. Then the next story, the next book in the series sort of jumps because you're a little bit confused as to why it's called The Moth and the Flame. And you're confused because you're like, why are we jumping to these new characters? And why, like, who are they and how do they have relevance? And this is about Ren and Lou. And Lou is a foster kid, street kid situation, and Ren is a part of that other gang that I was talking about. It's not 13, it's, God, what is that gang called? I don't know, I can't remember what the other gang, but he's part of that gang. And so because of Lou's like street involvement and pickpocketing and all that situation, you know, they come together and he knows her and she saves him from something, and as a result, but she's only like 14 at the time and he's like 19. And so a long relationship ensues between the two of them, and you see that they are then interconnected with the characters from this book. So while this is a standalone novel, you really have to read this first to understand what's going on here. Now I have to say that in this series, BB disappointed me because the plot line is so confusing and it's really difficult to follow all the characters. The couples and then the friend groups, that makes sense, but when you interconnect it with their parents and then their history, it gets really confusing. So you gotta like follow along, all right, to really closely to know what's going on. So that's a 4 out of 5 star. So then we've been waiting for this story. This is the Punk and the Plaything, and this is Jamie's story, and Jamie is Ever's cousin. Ever is in a fake dating relationship with Barbette or Barbie. Jamie has a long-standing history with Barbie. So this is Barbie and Jamie's story and the coming out of the fake relationship that Ever has. So there's a lot of plot points going on. Jamie is like, you know, hard-toting, tatted, cursing, you know, is jokester, gonna say what he thinks, he's gonna put it all out there. He like is comic relief, but at the same time he makes everybody face their demons. Their story was really good. It wasn't the best, but you know, it's a 4 out of 5 star. And then lastly, The Prince and the Pawn, and this book was so good. This was harken back to Broken Love. This book was what I was expecting for the entire series, but didn't get it until this book. And this story is about Tyra and Vaughn. And it's an interracial dating situation. It's an interfinancial. One is wealthy, one is not. And there is a lot of history. There's a lot of lying, there's a lot of intrigue, there's a lot of backfighting, there's a lot, like the plot line is all finally coming together. All the characters are starting to vie. It's an epic finale. You get a awesome epilogue, a post epilogue of every single character, not every single couple, I'm sorry, to hear what's going on with each of those couples. So this book was a 5 out of 5 star because of the issues that they were dealing with in this book. And I don't want to give it away. There's a lot of surprise tropes, a lot of stuff that's going on, and we needed it. We needed it to all come together, and it all came together beautifully. So I'm going to say, like, out of the entire series, the first book, Ever and Four's story, this one was the best, and then absolutely the finale, The Prince and the Pawn, were the absolute best. Now, the overall series, in terms of likability, I'm gonna give it a 3.75 to a 4. It was not her best work. I mean, like, after you read Broken Love, like, Broken Love is just like next stratosphere level good, whereas this is still really good. I really enjoyed it. And then, like I said, Evermore, that little novella, is just basically about a prom scenario and getting dressed and getting prepared for that prom. So it's like a little something. It's like a little short. I think it was maybe 50 pages, something like that. So you can't get it in paperback. You can only get it on Kindle Unlimited. So it definitely is worth it. I'm glad that I read it. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm glad I read it. It was good, but it wasn't her best work. Let me say that. So, having said that, you guys, we are moving on to we finished up, that was part of our September stuff. This is now what we're moving into October, and so we need to get going with our ambitious October TBR. And so having said that, you guys know that I upload new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So please like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when I upload new videos, and I will see you next time in the next video. Bye.